Throughout this process, you'll want to work on confidence. Confidence will help you in the job search, networking, as you are interviewing. So here are a few tips to help with that. The first is a cognitive reframe. A cognitive reframe is when you notice a negative thought or a thought that isn't serving you, and you work to rewrite that thought in a more beneficial way. So say you're having the thought, I was never good at my old job. You'll want to reframe that thought and say, maybe you could say, there were some times that my old job felt really difficult, but in spite of it being really difficult, I did a good job. So that's a reframe, just rewriting that thought and thinking about a different way that you can frame it, looking at the bigger perspective. We want to be sure we're approaching this process from our wise mind. What that means is that we're taking our emotions into account and the facts into account, but we're separating out our emotions and our facts, and we're naming what's an emotion and what's a fact. Am I fearful about applying for this job, or do I think that I might not be a good fit for this job? That's an emotion. That's not a fact. I don't know that to be true just yet. So take a step back and notice the thoughts that you're having and make sure to name them as thoughts so that you can differentiate them from facts. You can even say things like, I'm having the thought that I won't be good at this job. And so as you're going through this process, make sure to engage in activities that help build your confidence. Maybe it's hanging out with friends, maybe it's building things, but think about the things that help build your confidence and make sure you have those things spread throughout your week to help. As a therapist, I feel like it's important for me to mention to think about whether or not you're in fight, flight, or freeze when you apply for jobs. Those are our automatic responses when we're introduced to something that we're scared of or overwhelmed by. And depending on what your automatic response is, you might find that sometimes when you go to apply for jobs or when you go to watch these videos, you move into fight or flight. So check in with yourself and notice where you are and if you need to engage in some activities to help with that. Grounding exercises can help with that. Running your hands under cold water, putting a cold cloth on the back of your neck, and engaging in breathing exercises to help calm your body down. Notice when you're approaching this from a scarcity mindset. There's never going to be enough jobs for me. I'm not going to be able to do this because there's not enough opportunity out there for me. Notice when you're in that place because that's going to impact the whole process. So if you start out in that place, try to reframe some of your thoughts to look at it from an abundance perspective. Many people have been able to make career changes. Think of who you know who's made a career change effectively and try to focus on that versus what hasn't worked and what won't work. So the next concept that I want to address is growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is, this is all the information I have. I can't learn anymore. This is all I'm capable of. Growth mindset is, if it's out there and someone else is doing it, I can probably do it too, or I can learn this, or I have the ability to grow in this. And depending on what we've been through in the past, we might lean more towards fixed mindset, especially if we've been through trauma. So notice that and try to focus on a growth mindset, that you have the ability to learn the skills that you need. In order to maintain action in this process, notice and name what your escape doors are. Escape doors are the things that we want to do instead of doing the thing that we need to do. For me, it's vacuuming instead of working on building my business sometimes, because I have a little bit of confidence around that and like some fears around that. So I would rather vacuum. So name what those things are for you so you can notice if you're engaging in those activities rather than this process.